You know that feeling when everything finally gets quiet, and suddenly your mind gets loud. That moment when you close your laptop, turn off the TV, crawl into bed, and your chest tightens. Your thoughts start racing. Your heart pounds for no reason you can name. You think something's wrong with you. But here's what nobody tells you. Your anxiety isn't attacking you in those quiet moments. It's finally trying to speak to you because the silence you've been running from. It's not empty. It's full. It's full of everything you've been too busy, too distracted, too overwhelmed to hear. And your anxiety has been screaming into that silence for months, maybe years, trying to get your attention. Tonight, we're going to stop running. We're going to listen. We live in a world that worships noise, productivity, stimulation, constant motion. Scroll through your phone, answer that email. Listen to a podcast while you work. Put on music while you cook. Fill every silence with something, anything, because silence feels dangerous. Silence feels like falling. So we've been taught to treat anxiety like an intruder, like a glitch in the system that needs to be fixed, medicated, or meditated away as quickly as possible. The wellness industry sells you quick fixes. Breathe deeper, think positive. Buy this supplement, download this app, and some of those things help. Sure, but they're treating the symptoms, not listening to the message. Because anxiety isn't just random noise. It's signal, it's information. It has your nervous system trying to tell you something you've been too afraid or too busy to acknowledge. And the louder your life gets, the louder anxiety has to scream to be heard. Until finally, in those rare moments of silence, it doesn't have to compete anymore. And that's when it feels overwhelming. Not because the anxiety suddenly appeared, but because you finally stopped drowning it out. This pattern started long before you realized it. When you were young, your nervous system was learning what safety meant. And for many of us, silence wasn't safe. Silence meant tension. Silence meant something bad was about to happen. Silence meant you were alone with thoughts too big for a child to hold. Psychologists call this your brain learned to scan for danger constantly. To stay alert, to never fully relax because relaxation meant vulnerability. And that child is still inside you, still scanning, still convinced that if you let your guard down, something terrible will happen. So you fill your life with noise to keep that child distracted, to keep yourself moving so fast that fear can't catch up. Neuroscience backs this up. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, doesn't distinguish between physical danger and emotional discomfort. When you were a child and learned that silence preceded pain, your brain filed that away as a threat. Now, decades later, silence triggers the same alarm bells. Your body tenses, your breath shallows, anxiety floods in, not because anything is actually wrong in this moment, but because your nervous system remembers. And here, the paradox, the thing you need most to heal is the thing that terrifies you most. Silence. Stillness. The space to finally hear what your anxiety has been trying to say. But when you finally stop running, something remarkable happens. When you sit with the silence instead of fleeing from it, when you let anxiety speak instead of shouting over it, the message becomes clear. And usually, it's simpler than you thought. Maybe your anxiety is saying, you're exhausted. You've been performing strength for so long that you forgot it's okay to rest. Maybe it's saying, you're grieving something you never gave yourself permission to mourn. Maybe it's saying, this life you're living doesn't match who you actually are. The people who learn to listen, who develop practices that create space for this listening, they describe it as coming home. Meditation isn't about emptying your mind. It's about finally letting your mind speak without interruption. Mindfulness isn't about feeling peaceful all the time. It's about being present enough to hear the truth underneath the panic. Even something as simple as ASMR or deep breathing works because it creates a pocket of safety. A moment where your nervous system can finally whisper instead of scream. And when you hear the message, when you actually listen, the anxiety often softens. Not because it went away, but because it was finally heard. Because it doesn't have to shout anymore. But that's the uncomfortable truth that most wellness content won't tell you. Many of us do not want to hear the message, because hearing it means we have to act on it. And action is terrifying. If you listen to your anxiety and realize you're in the wrong relationship, you have to choose. Stay comfortable or risk the unknown. If you hear that you're burnt out from a career that's slowly destroying you, you have to face the question, is this really what I want from my one life? If the message is that you've been running from grief or trauma or shame, listening means finally feeling it, all of it. And that pain feels like it might destroy you. So we choose the familiar suffering of anxiety over the unknown suffering of change. We stay in the noise. We keep ourselves so busy, so stimulated, so distracted that we never have to face that quiet voice telling us the truth. We mistake this busyness for living. We confuse constant motion with purpose. And our anxiety keeps screaming, keeps escalating, because nothing else has worked. This is why some people say, peace feels scary. Because peace requires honesty. Peace means you can't lie to yourself anymore about what's not working. Chaos is easier. Anxiety is familiar. At least you know how to survive in noise. But silence, real silence, asks something more of you. It asks you to listen, and then to live differently. So, what do you do with this? How do you start listening without drowning? First, understand this. You don't have to fix everything at once. Listening doesn't mean appending your entire life tomorrow. It means creating small, consistent moments where you practice being with yourself without distraction. 5 minutes of silence in your car before you walk into work. 10 minutes of journaling without your phone nearby. A walk without podcasts or music. Just you and your thoughts. Second, get curious instead of critical. When anxiety shows up, instead of thinking what's wrong with me, try asking, what are you trying to tell me? Treat it like a messenger, not an enemy. The shift in perspective changes everything. Third, recognize that healing isn't linear and it isn't always peaceful. Some days, listening will bring relief. Other days, it will bring tears, rage, or a crushing awareness of what you've been avoiding. That's not failure. That's the process. That's what it means to be human and brave enough to face yourself. And finally, know that ignoring the message has a cost. The anxiety you suppress doesn't disappear. It compounds. It seeps into your body as chronic pain, insomnia, disease. It poisons your relationships. It turns your life into a performance you can't sustain. The price of not listening is living at war with yourself forever. And you're too tired for that war. The silence your anxiety's been screaming at you to hear isn't empty. It's where the truth lives. It's where you meet yourself without the mask, without the performance, without the noise. And maybe that's terrifying. Maybe you've spent your whole life running from that meeting. But here's what I know. The version of you that exists in that silence is the one who has been waiting, the one who knows what you actually need, the one who's been trying to save you all along. Your anxiety isn't your enemy. It's the alarm system you installed long ago to keep yourself safe. And it's still doing its job, still trying to protect you, still screaming because somewhere deep inside, there's something you need to hear. So maybe it's time to stop running, to sit down in the silence. And finally, listen, because the message hasn't changed. It's just been waiting for you to be ready to hear it.